Me and, Roy, you know what he saw down in the me and Scott are coming.
Yeah.
It's like, is he the two Scott is, or is he not calling that? I don't remember.
He should start calling that.
I know, it's so cute.
His buddies out playing Minecraft.
I know. Oh, good, my old picture. I look at you.
He does have a guilty look on his face. I'm like, wait, maybe? I don't have it. You have one put to your folder.
I just got one for the fourth.
Can't pick up. I might as well start a new job. Come on.
It's gone though.
Delivery door used to have the roll.
It's a blessing right now. That's the way I'm looking at it, so.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna try to help Thursday and Friday. I talked Saturday, I'm like, man, I'm gonna be on at 36, because I work all day Saturday. That's all right.
You get used to not sitting in traffic. When you work there or something, I don't know if I have a car.
In my back pocket.
Too many
You gotta check the butt pocket.
And if I get done earlier Friday, I'm gonna check the box.
Okay, Dean. Dean?
It did. You gotta use one.
Did see him. Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you? And I'm like, why is my fault? I've never heard of that
Stan?
Oh, thank you for that. Huh?
Oops, we never moved it back. We never moved the flag.
Oh.
Oops, that's my fault.
Start the words for somebody. Item.
Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Okay. Go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sorry.
Oh, Serenity. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Matthew, please call the roll.
It's cranking right through it.
Gallagher.
Present.
Callaghan.
Present.
Scarborough.
Present.
Showers.
Present.
Olson.
Here.
Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for this evening. And I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? You will note that there is detailed listings to support the figures that you see in the consent agenda. In case anybody has any questions about any particular item. Okay, clerk call and roll.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Callaghan.
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Showers.
Yeah.
Olson.
Yes.
At this time, we've already done the minutes. We have Alderman Crawford's resignation effective 5/15/25. He requested that it be included in in the minutes, and that will be reflected in the minutes as well.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I believe when an alderman resigns, we have to, like the board has to approve the resignation. Is that correct?
How they historically done
I don't.
Or accept the resignation? I'm pretty sure.
You can, I don't, I'll be honest, I don't.
I know that we did not do that with Moss's. Would you like to go ahead and do it?
I'll go ahead and do it. I move that we accept Alderman Crawford's resignation from Ward 3.
Okay,
Second?
any discussion?
I think I remember reading it in the handbook for newly elected
Okay,
officers or newly elected officials.
They've done it in the past, I don't know what
Yeah.
others.
And was he appointed versus elected, and does that make any difference?
I don't think
it. He was elected.
was elected.
He was,
Okay.
yeah, he was appointed when he did it.
Okay.
I'll go find the exact reference so that we have it for future record.
okay, that will be good. Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes,
Showers,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Do we have any alderman comments at this point? Patrick?
So one of the things that, hindsight 2020, if I were first elected, I would want to know the little hints, gotchas. Read the newly elected packet that you may have gotten from Matthew Chapman. It is a great resource, but it is like 200 pages long. It is very extensive. Some parts of it are dry. Some parts are maybe a little bit less dry. But some of the highlights that are really important for new aldermen is sunshine law. Understand how we interact with other board members, how we interact with meetings and minutes being created and agendas. They're all regulated. Make sure that you read up on that. The financial aspect of it. So, such as during the approval of consent agenda, there was the Part B says approval of expenditures. What we're doing when we're doing that is approving the city to write and pay checks and make payments to people. And it's important that we as aldermen review what the contents of those are, understand where the money's going, make sure that if we have any questions about a particular line item, raise your hand, ask about it, talk about it, and somebody here will probably know. If it isn't the city clerk, it's probably one of the department heads that's making the purchase. And then when we get to the finance stuff, I'll talk a little bit more about it. But these are just some of the resources that I think would be really helpful to understand. Read up on sunshine law, read up on the financial powers that we have. So thank you, that's my comment.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Old business? John, meeting time?
Yeah, we want to discuss changing the meeting times. I know, sir, you had the only concern that I've heard so far. I don't know that she would be required to be at both meetings a month. Do you feel compelled or that you would need to be here?
In the past, we changed it about maybe 2 years ago to where I only had to attend one. I changed it myself back to 2 when there were issues with the board making decisions without input. So I'm more than happy to go back to just attending
Scale
one.
back to just one?
Jared also wants to, but
No, he can't.
I tried.
But I tell you, one meeting a month, if we go back to the 6:30 start time, that's not gonna be too much of an inconvenience for you that you can't work around. Does anybody else have concerns about that? I feel like the residents are potentially could be missing out for those that do work to be able to make it here by 5:30 for the meeting.
Patrick?
Yeah, so I think it's always a trade-off. Number one, if we keep it at 5:30, Yes, there are some people that have to drive back to Pleasant Valley, some residents who might want to attend the meetings, and that restricts them. We've tried to counterbalance that with doing the live streams, and it helps keep our staff that has to be here from being here until, you know, super late at night, if we can get the meeting done earlier by starting an hour early. On the flip side, moving it to 6:30, yes, I think it helps improve transparency. It helps those who are in the community who want to view the meeting live to be here at the meetings. You see things with a little bit different lens than if you just watch it on the live stream. But that has side effects. It has financial implications. We have staff here that has to wait between an hour and an hour and a half between when their shift or their time here ends, and the meeting starts, when they're then engaged for the next, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours while we have the meeting. So if we want to make a change, I just want to make sure that we highlight the pros and cons of both sides. So
Is there a possibility we could meet in the middle, do it 6 o'clock?
I think 6 is a great time.
6 is a good compromise, because but if you get off work at 5 o'clock, if you are downtown or over the park or wherever, you can't get here 30 minutes in rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
Hour is feasible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, but it's just giving the residents, because that's who we're looking for, giving them plenty of opportunity to get here if they wish to attend the meeting. So I'm good with 6 o'clock. Does anybody have any other discussion about that?
So, have we heard a good amount of outreach from the community to move the time back?
Yes.
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 So I would love to hear just some of that way we know why we're doing it. It's not just, we think that maybe this could help some people, but if we're hearing genuine outreach from people who are interested in being here, then I think it's important that we recognize that and adjust the time accordingly.
That I've heard from several people, I mean, a handful or maybe a few more than that, but you know, theoretically, I've done terms on the board, but I never got a call from any resident about anything before, so. But I think 6 o'clock would be equitable.
And has this, did we discuss this in advance with department heads about how that works for you guys, about having to be here later? If it makes a large difference or not for you?
It doesn't matter. I'm salaried, so that's not like there's overtime for me or whatever, but I think part of the reason we moved it earlier was the fact that, you know, we're kind of obligated, the city was obligated to pay overtime until the week was over.
Mhm.
So that's.
And then is something else that we could discuss, and if not, let me know, but just something to consider is, are we able to dismiss our department heads earlier? And so when we get done with their reports, if we could dismiss them, so, you know, so in the past, we've gone into a closed session, like, you know, maybe under new business or something at the very end of the meeting, you've been in there for half an hour. And I don't think that necessarily the department heads would need to be here for that, but I don't know if
I think,
we want them here to the end, just in case we have questions.
I think the police chief is required to stay just in case something would happen, but the other department heads, I don't know why they would be required or need to stay beyond giving their report.
If I may add, the only thing that is beneficial of staying here in the department heads do their presentations or talk through certain things. You as me as department head is more in tune with what all is going on in the city.
That makes sense.
That's it. Now, if you guys are doing the end of the meeting closed sessions, and you're gonna go in there for a while, and then just come out and the meeting's gonna end, then I got no problem leaving.
We used to do that a lot.
Yeah, so I
Closed
think-
sessions at the end.
Could that potentially be maybe on a case-by-case basis, just kind of maybe by the alderman/mayor's discretion, saying, hey, department heads, you could be excused And then I guess at that point, if they wanted to stay, just to listen, you could, but you would no longer be on the clock. Would something like that be potentially fair? Save them the time as well for staying later?
We had done that in the past. But you're right, John, the police chief has to stay.
Him or one of his representatives from a security perspective.
I would think that a 6 o'clock kind of meet in the middle is probably fair. I imagine for most people who live and work in Pleasant Valley, that gives a fair amount of time, that if you want to be here, you at least have the opportunity to be here. I would think for most people who work a standard job, obviously if you have non-standard hours, then the meet time's not as relevant anyway.
I'd like to concur, because I went through all that weather downtown Kansas City just to get here, and I was still late. I think for those who may get up at 4 o'clock and run around and have the time to cook meals for their families and settle things in transition, this time is appropriate. However, with my commitments, and I assume other people would probably like to be here in person than online, and so they can voice their opinion, I think we need to reconsider it. And I kind of walked in, my apologies, because I can't control the weather, but I'd really like to request some limitations. Oh, am I not talking loud enough?
No, they're just not on.
Oh,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
okay, it's all good. All right, I will do a brief summary of what I was saying then. Is this one on too, or? We're all red online, okay. So what I was saying is, I apologize for not being here on time due to the weather. But I really feel if we can move the time until 6 o'clock, that gives people more time, especially if they get off at 5. Or they work on the other side of town, or like South Kansas, for example. It also gives them time to settle in and do whatever they need to do so they can be here in person and interact a little bit more, so we can know our constituents as well.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot to add one more thing. I know we have closed sessions. I concur if we can have if we need to have closed sessions, that we keep them at the end and kind of put a limit on it. I know things can go on and on. I just want to be mindful of everybody's time and commitments after work, after this too as well. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to change the meeting
I
time?
move that we adjust the start time of the regular council meetings from 5:30 PM to 6 PM.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Any further discussion?
That's not in ordinance form, is it, for the meeting times?
I don't think so. I think
It's a procedural thing.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Calvin,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Alrighty. Okay, public comments or guests? Anything, Dana? Anything? No? Yes? Maybe?
My question was, but it's a moot point. I was going to ask Alderwoman Scarborough, the splitting of the hairs from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. My whole point with my neighbors off and on my street was about the dinner hour, getting kids home, preparing your meal, being able to sit back and gather. That's why the 6:30 time, but it's a moot point now. So maybe we can address 6:30, 7 o'clock, a later time, another further down the road. I do appreciate at least the 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think we'll see how this goes.
Yes.
If we continue to hear things, we'll
Thank you.
look at it again.
I appreciate it.
We can always,
We all do.
yeah, we can always have an updated resolution
Thank you.
to change it further if we have a lot of outreach from the community.
Thank you.
Okay. City attorneys. Administration reports.
I had provided a written report, and I had a couple things to add, that weren't in my report, but if anybody had questions related to the report, I can try to answer those. If not, a couple things. Lisa Stewart, the assistant city clerk, will be taking over the risk management administration, which was part of the HR manager position, so she will be taking over that. A lot of that's dealing with dealing back and forth with Myrna, but she will be taking over the administration of that. And then the other thing I had, at a previous meeting, it was brought up, the idea of the timekeeping software. I don't think the board ever made a decision. I know that TCP was presented. It was going to be initial outlay of about $17,000 and about $4,300 each year going forward. Just to give my opinion, I don't think that's necessary. It was really just to automate the 20 or so paper timesheets that we have. For me, that it's hard to justify that kind of an expense. And I ran, Lisa processed the payroll this past week, so I spoke with her about it as well. We are in agreement that it's, for a city our size, for the amount of time cards and employees we have, it's for us, it's not worth the cost.
What did you say the cost was again?
It's about a $17,000 initial outlay, and then $4,300 a year.
Yeah, so what, it might save you 30 minutes a cycle on the payroll, if it saved that much. Yeah, that $17,000 go a long way for them.
Not very cost efficient.
So do we want to just table that forever at this point?
Do we need to make a motion just to not do something? I mean, it's just a possible, a thing that we're just considering. I don't know if we need to really have any motion on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just never make a motion.
Yeah.
Not address it. Okay.
Thank you, Matthew.
Public Works, Chris.
So I provided a written report for you all. Didn't know if anybody had any questions on it. If not, that's all I have.
I got a question. I know you're starting to look at the overlay for this year.
Yeah.
South Brookside, is it on there? Or are you going?
South Brookside is on the list.
It is on the list. How about this part of
Church.
church?
We were gonna go from where MoDOT left off with the concrete paving, right before you get to Royal,
Okay.
and wrap and go down,
Down.
wrap the dog leg, go to BBR. That's not been done as long as I've worked here. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it's
the last time.
rougher than,
Yeah.
it's crazy with all settling and.
Yeah,
Water
so
line.
just to elaborate on that, I put in $100,000 for overlay in the budget for this year. Tandem Paving won the pre-approved bid this year. So we would reach out to them and have them present bids. If we could do like we did with Pleasant Valley Road and leave the city engineer out of it, we save a ton of money. And then we also get buy-in from the road street, the special roads district. Like I put in the report, we were supposed to meet last Wednesday, and two of the guys had a funeral, so the meeting got canceled, so that's my life.
On an overlay project, is there any benefit to having the engineer involved?
Money savings.
Well, so it just costs us money to involve them. There's no real benefit to you or to anybody else to have that.
I mean, he would call out, there may be certain areas of the road that would need to have what's called a full depth repair, where you would go down go down deep, concrete up, and then cap with base asphalt and then 2-inch cap asphalt. But the guy, so whether it's Superior Bone or in this case Tandem Paving, he's gonna call that out himself because we have that 3-year performance bond. And he's not gonna wanna come back and fix
Right.
that spot.
Right.
So it's kind of built in.
That makes sense to me, because of the 3-year bond, if they don't do something, they're not matching it.
So if we did 200,000, say, of overlay money, the engineer cost would be 10, 12,000. So you're saving that. But the only other thing I want to say on that is I'm not the only one that decides what roads get done. I mean, it's partly you all.
Special road district.
Special road, if they don't agree with me, then they don't want to help fund it, and then less money, less area. But it's, it's not a big, tough negotiating thing. It's just, I always tell them, just go drive.
Yeah, all you gotta do is
Go drive South Brookside, Pleasant Valley Road to Royal Street. Every 10 feet,
Doesn't matter which side of
expansion
the road you're
paths.
on.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, that's good, because I was gonna say, if it's not on there, we need to try to
Yeah,
get it.
I mean, I drive these roads all day, every day, going on an inspection, going to meet a resident, going to meet a contractor. And I know, where the spots are.
So I have a question for you. With the road, special road district, has any of them reached out and said there are certain roads they will not do this year?
No.
Okay, so they're in agreement with the ones that you.
Well, so 2 meetings ago, Jeff wasn't present at the meeting, he was in Germany.
Okay.
And then this last meeting was canceled.
Okay.
So, but a while back, I told them, check out these roads. It was Kale from South Church to where the stormwater project was done. The center of the road is all pitted, pretty much all the way, at least to Sobey. And then South Brookside for its dips and expansion issues. River Road for the same reason. And Hines is bad, but we'll see how the numbers come in from Tandem. Because Hines is very low traffic, but we would step up with Hines the next time.
Okay, so that was my next question. So do you have a list for this current year and then next year or the next 2 to 3 years laid out?
Yeah. The only thing we have to be careful of is the Road Street Committee and the City of Pleasant Valley Public Works, or what would go to the street funds.
Okay.
We used to get larger chunks of money from both federal and state highway and bridge taxes. And then we lost literally 85% of what we used to get from federal and state. So when Road and Street or me deplete our road money, road repair, road overlay money, it takes forever to build it back up. So you kind of got to be careful. You can't just go nuts and say, oh, let's do the whole south side of the city. Because then you run yourself out of money. And then if you have issues from sinkholes or that sort of thing, then you don't want to be without money to fix something.
So what I'm hearing is we have a budget for 200,000 for this year for an overlay.
It might be a little more than that. I put in for 100,000.
Okay.
Road and Street, I think, has like 260-something thousand on their books. They probably won't spend it all, so we're probably looking at maybe 240,000, similar to what Pleasant Valley Road costs.
So then you're saying, you said that, yeah, I'm just curious, what's your buffer for that? Like, what do you say? Because you stated if it gets too low, it'll be hard to replenish. So in your perspective and expertise, would it be your buffer or threshold before you deplete all the resources and it would take a long time to restore them?
Like a little over $500,000
Okay.
on the city. And Road and Street has a total of, they're sitting on, I think, 265,000.
Okay.
And they would want to have it leave themselves at least 60,000.
Okay.
I would bet. I can't answer for that right here.
All right, thank you.
Yep. There you go. Thank you.
Fire department?
I've also provided a written report, and I also have another comment as well. Anybody has any questions on the written report? So, also in your packet, there's a resolution for supporting the regional hazard mitigation plan. We have not participated in this in the past. I would encourage you to go to mark.org and look at the hazard mitigation plan. It's probably 600 pages, so that's why you don't have it in your packet. But essentially, it's a non-binding, what do you, like, for us, what are we gonna do about severe storms, tornadoes, severe winter weather? What are the things are we gonna do to try to help mitigate those things? And we submit that, and it gets put together with all other cities, the 5 counties, schools, and so forth. And, the one thing that we do get from participating in the hazard mitigation plan is that we have potential to apply for some FEMA grants. So depending on if we had a flood plan or an issue, we'd probably possibly apply for a FEMA grant for that. So it's just good. I think it's just good business. We've never participated before. It's a plan that gets updated every 5 years. This was the update time, and it was time for us to get involved and participate in the plan. So, and that's what that resolution is about.
And does it cost us, the city, to do, be a participant? Okay.
I have a question with that. With the hazard mitigation FEMA grants and association with MARC, I don't know who to direct this question to. Do we as a city have a FEMA plan in place? In the sense that what I've been reading in some of my background, if you don't have a FEMA guidelines in place and align with it, if we should have a disaster or a tornado, we would not get funding. So I'm just curious, Mayor or Clerk Matthew, do we have a formal emergency plan FEMA operation guideline?
So and this is something that we will do now that we have a new mayor and we can update it. The local emergency operation plan from Clay County, that's what we have adopted. It was done, I think last was in 2022. And I will be working on that to get that, what we need. I'll talk to the Clay County emergency manager, and we will get that. I will present another resolution for you, ordinance to update that emergency operation.
Can you repeat the name of that you're going to update document?
LEOP, Local Emergency Operation Plan. And you can go on to, I can, if you all are good with email, I can email you that plan. The current, the one that we have adopted, but like I said, we just need to make some updates as far as contacts and such for what,
Okay, I'm down for an email, and then also the mark.org. So, would really like to take a dive in that to understand how we can align or strengthen, resources and for our city.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chief, I just wanted to clarify, make sure I was understanding it right. So this resolution is a motion that the city is going to add our risks into the multi-jurisdictional risk pool. And the multi-jurisdictional risk pool will write up, hey, these are the risks that are present in our neighborhoods that are committed to it. And then FEMA will review that like they're not reviewing our specific plan, they're reviewing the regional plan and approving it at a regional level. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
The aspect between that and,
Yeah.
the Mark and the Mid-America Regional Council, I don't want to misspeak,
Okay.
but I believe that's how that works.
Okay. Can we see your report to Mark of our regional risks or of our local municipal risks?
Yeah. And it was pretty basic to it, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Chip.
I just wanted to also, sorry, not question, just thank you for having the award ceremony that you guys put on. I was able to make it for a little bit.
Well, I'm glad.
It was wonderful.
The turnout was a little light, but,
The food was really good. Anyone who did not go was missing out. The food was fabulous.
and we had plenty.
Graduations are over with. They got those.
Next.
So I want to just clarify, or just a quick search. So just to summarize the difference between the agencies, MARC is Multi-Agency Resource Center. The purpose is a physical location.
No.
Is that not the right one?
What's it on here?
Mark.org.
Or, okay,
It should be this right
It's
here.
a Mid-America,
Okay.
it's a Mid-America Regional
okay,
Council.
wrong one. Okay, I will rescind my thoughts. Thank you.
All right, police department.
Good evening. Your monthly crime report was in your packet. Nothing outrageous this month, which is good. I do want to point out that the stolen autos, we keep getting, not all of them, that halved, probably 75%. The church has opened up a couple businesses behind the church. One of them is called Toro, which is a company, you can take your car there and they rent it out and make money. And so the church has brought a couple of these companies in to try to make some money because I think they're hurting financially. 50 to 75% of those cars that are stolen are coming from that back lot. And we drive through there, I don't know how many times a night. The last one, we think the guy was actually sitting in a car when we drove through. We just missed it. And that's gonna happen, but that's why you see a spike in stolen autos. It's been open for probably close to a year and a half. And I'm saying 50 to 75% are probably coming out of that lot. The other thing was I applied for the LLEBG grant back in October. Finally, 2 weeks ago, right after the board meeting, I found out that we received it for a little over $9,600 for an in-car radio. And that's 100% paid, no cost to the state. To go along with that is the board approved a resolution, I believe, to apply for the Missouri Blue Shield, or to apply to be a Missouri Blue Shield community. That application was approved. And so we'll be open to about $10 million worth of grants. I don't know what we can apply for yet, it hasn't been released, but there's $10 million sitting there in the state's budget for that grant program. And then the last thing, we have an old 2013 Ford Interceptor. Used to be the fire chief's car. that we need to sell. I recommend going with Purple Wave. They come out, take all the photos, put it on their website, they do all the work. And they seem to get decent amount of money for what they put on their website. So that would be my recommendation.
Have you used them before?
Yep, we sold one of our police cars, and I think you've sold several things.
I've sold some stuff on it.
Hassle-free?
Yeah, it is great.
I say they come out, take all the pictures, post it on the website, and take care of the money.
So that they get a commission off of a percentage?
On top of what they paid us.
Okay.
They charge the buyer the premium.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's a win-win. Yeah.
Is that a motion?
Yeah,
I need your motion.
I move that we allow the police chief to utilize Purple Wave for the sale of the 2013 Ford Interceptor.
Second.
Sorry.
Be quicker.
Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty simple.
And that's all I have.
All right, well, thank you very much for all your hard work for the grants and your attention to detail. Okay, Sarah, on some report.
So I do have a couple things. I don't know if there was discussion on it prior on my report on May 5th or 6th, whatever the board meeting was that I wasn't here for the judge and prosecutor's ordinance. So I brought those with me because I still am asking for the prior ordinances, which I have the numbers, to be repealed and the new ordinances to be approved. And then there were some financial issues with accounts being not transferred into the court's restricted accounts, correct? And Matt got that all squared away after he was able to get in there.
Was there a length of time to that, associated with that?
They were wrong all year from the prior city administrator. So
Okay,
Matt transferred the whole year back in. He had originally transferred it in, but it was taken out. So put it back.
okay.
I did have a question on the ordinances. I noticed during your report last time that there was a note that there's an age cap on judges, and we're hitting that cap this cycle around, right?
We are.
So
So
that's-
this ordinance itself is only 1 year, whereas the prosecutor's is 2 years. And then if we were to move the prosecutor to the municipal judge, once ours had to resign in July of next year, then it would just overrule that current ordinance.
I don't know how you go about finding judges. So
You asked the previous judge.
for like a recommendation.
Recommendations.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. We have just recommendations from the area judges, and we just tend to know which ones are the better ones to obtain.
Is the ordinance in our packet the updated one?
That is the updated ordinance. So the ones that I'm asking are being repealed are Council Bill 3516, ordinance number 3515, and ordinance number 3514, Council Bill 3515. And those were in the prior packet.
And this would be in the place of those.
These would take their place, yes.
So that's a repeal and replace?
Yes.
Okay. So when we get to those, we will do that.
Do we know which one goes with which one? 3514, is that Smithwick?
Yep.
And then 3515 is Blair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do we, sorry, well, we were talking about you coming to only one meeting. Is that something that we have to make any motion on, or is that just you you could just decide to start coming to one meeting, so we don't need to have any further discussion on it.
I think it's a matter of agenda, like, we just include municipal court as an item on the agenda or not.
Mhm. And like, if the end of the month falls on the 30th and it's a Friday, and we have a meeting on Monday, I'm not gonna have it in your packet, so I'll go to the second one. Just kind of depends on when it falls, that way I can make sure my report's in it for that month, or that prior month.
So before we do the agenda, we'll just check with you.
Yes, I would provide it to Matt by Thursday.
Okay, that'll be good. All right. We do need to set a personnel committee. Is there a motion for a personnel chair at this point?
I don't know if I would be willing to sit as the personnel committee chair.
Okay,
I don't know if I can nominate myself.
that would be odd.
I'll nominate Serena to sit as the chair and personnel.
I'm not shy, I don't mind.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion about that?
For in the past, just since I've been here, so I'm not gonna say historically, because I've not been here that long. The personnel committee has been made up of 3 people, one of which is the financial chair, and another is another board member. So I know something that has been discussed is that we can welcome all members to the committee meetings, but as far as selecting those other people so we can officially have a quorum and have those meetings have an agenda, is that also something that we would need to make a motion on, or is that just decided afterwards for the other committee members?
For the third member?
Okay, so can I read the ordinance?
Sure.
So in section 115.030, this is the section that pertains to advisory committees. There is a section under B2, says the personnel committee shall consist of 3 members of the Board of Aldermen, the Finance Committee Chair, and 2 other aldermen selected annually by the Board of Aldermen after the April general election. The mayor and the president of the Board of Aldermen are excluded from holding a seat on the personnel committee. The committee members shall select 1 member as chair. So what we're doing as a full board is not nominating a chair. We are nominating 2 members of the board to sit on the personnel committee, and then the personnel committee in their first meeting shall select the chair of the committee. Is that the right reading of that, Matthew?
Sounds right.
Okay.
Okay,
So let's
I'll
backtrack.
rescind that motion.
And
And does any of you 3 have
I had talked with Debbie to see if she would be interested, and she said that she would have interest and time for that commitment.
Except on my trips, yes.
Yeah.
okay, so can I make a motion that the personnel committee be apprised of the finance chair, which is Patrick Gallagher, and then Debbie Scarborough and Serenity Olson. That's the personnel committee.
okay, is there a second?
Yeah, no.
Second.
Yeah, I'll say out of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's up to Dean and Stephanie.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Okay, so we now have a personnel committee and we have a finance committee. So, you guys get together and decide when you want to have meetings and let the rest of us know.
Right.
Can I read the section on meetings?
Yes.
I'll-
Yes, yes, Patrick, of course.
Okay. Meetings shall be held by each committee at least once a month. Each committee may fix the time of its meetings. Special meetings may be called by any time or at any time by the chair or by 2 members of a committee. Meetings shall be open to the public, and the notice of the meeting with the specific agenda shall be posted and fixed in the same manner as notices and meetings of the Board of Aldermen. So all committees, which, reminder of the committees, so far we have populated the Finance Committee, which is made up of all of us. We are all the Finance Committee, and the Personnel Committee. Those are the two that have committees formed. Personnel Committee now being Trinity, Debbie, and myself. We select a time and a place that is, best conducive to both meeting the obligations of the committee and fits our schedules. So, Matthew, yes.
Historically, that meeting has been on Thursday. If that works for the three of you, that gives us as staff enough time to likely have a finalized personnel agenda for that committee.
That was the comment I was gonna make. As of right now, my plan was to keep it at the same time. The people I discussed it with, including myself, right now are available at those times, or at that time, so obviously
Yeah,
if that
I'm
were to
available.
change, but,
Thursday, what time?
We had been meeting Thursday at 2,
Yeah.
but for me, Thursday's just a good day to time.
but as of right now, I still, it's been Thursday at 2, that keeps it consistent for, the community that was used to it being at that time, for staff that's been used to it being at that time, and my schedule's open at that time, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would say that. The
It's
Thursday
twice a
before
month.
the third.
It's the
So
Thursday
it's
before the
Thursday.
meeting.
Oh, Thursday before every meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Easy.
Easier to schedule.
Now, we've got something here in terms of HR recommendations. The approval to hire Avery Brown. Since we haven't had a personnel committee, it's coming before the board. And that is, she's a volunteer firefighter at $10 per call, pending background check, drug screen, and a physical.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Want to call the roll?
Gallagher,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Thank you. Right. Patrick. Finance Committee, please.
So I am in learning mode. I just want to make sure everyone is aware that this is a foray, and I'm learning on the fly as we go through this. I've looked at past, I've looked at the statutes, I've talked to the city clerk. So here's a couple of things that I think would be helpful. And in the city clerk's report, you mentioned that there's charts and figures and stuff. If there's something that would benefit us to make financial decisions, let's get that all out. I am 100% open to people telling me, hey, I'd like to see this view. Hey, I don't know what this means. Can you tell me what this number means, what this account means, what this process is supposed to be? This is a learning experience. The more questions we have, the better we all get, and the more knowledge we all gain in our roles. So some of the things that I've learned about the budget report, I just want to share it now because I think it's super relevant. So when we signed up for or reauthorized the signers on the accounts, we found that all of our accounts are in one location, Central Bank. And there's 11 different accounts. So one of the questions I still have is, what are those accounts? How do they translate to the funds that we have? How are those organized? What do they mean? And I'm going to meet with Matthew this week to try to get a grasp on what that is. 11 accounts. Some of those are investment accounts. So investment accounts have a very specific language in state statute that regulates how municipalities invest their funds. There's 3 principles that they apply: safety, liquidity, and returns. In that order, it has to be. So it talks about how do we preserve public funds. We cannot choose risky investments. We cannot lose on a gamble. We can't put it on the stock market and watch it go to half of what it was before. So the safety of the funds is the most important thing when it comes to investment. Liquidity, we can't tie those funds up, 90% of them, for a 10-year, hey, you can't touch these funds for 10 years because those funds might be needed in an emergency situation. So trying to find an investment vehicle that meets the safety, the least likelihood to reduce in value, and allows us to meet our financial commitments for the purpose of that account. And the last one is return. So what provides the best benefit to the taxpayers of, is it a 3% guaranteed return or is it a 4% guaranteed return? So balance all three of those and choose the best investment vehicle. So we will meet with the financial investment advisor at Central Bank this week to talk about what our investment holdings currently are, whether they meet that particular balance of all three of components, and if there's alternatives so that we can see what would better meet the city's financial requirements. One of the other things that we are discussing is, and personnel is kind of tied up in this, is how do we help retain and recruit the right candidates and the right people? And one of the biggest things that we keep hearing back from our employees is our city's health insurance. So this week, or between now and our next board meeting, I would like to call a special board meeting, a special finance meeting, specifically to talk about what are the health insurance options for us, how much would changes to that cost, what are the different vehicles, what are the different options to talk about, and what would best benefit both the funds that we have and our employees. So here at the end of this, I'll ask, hey, what's everybody's schedule look like so that we can all meet as a finance committee to talk about it before the next board meeting. So be looking at your schedules. But I wanted to talk about the budget report that was provided, because there's a couple of things that I like to look at when I look at these. First off, what do the columns mean? Original total budget is the first column and of numbers, and then current total budget is the second column. Those are in 99.9% of cases identical. They are the same. The only time that it would be different is if we pass a budget and we have to change what was budgeted halfway through the year, 3/4 of the way through the year, we have to change that number. We would see the difference that we authorized. Period activity. This is how much was added or removed in that particular line item during the period that was being discussed. And so in this case, look at the header, it says for fiscal year 2025, period ending 4/30/2025. Matthew, can you confirm that's a 30-day period, right? Okay. So this is for 4/1 through 4/30. So what does that mean? That is how much the first section is general fund revenue. So how much money did the city receive? How much did we make in those particular line items? So for instance, ambulance revenue. During the 30 days between 4/1 and 4/30, we received $7,957 in payments from patients being transported to the hospital. Patient care type stuff, ambulance revenue that was sent that was received by us during that time period. Business licenses, each of these are broken down into how did we receive the money. Things that stand out. Look at things that are abnormal. So for instance, we'll back away. Fiscal activity, that is how much have we done for the year to date? Starting January 1st, how much is that particular line item received or expended for the entire year, not just this period? And then the very last two columns is how much are we projected to, by the end of the year, make or lose in that particular line item. So this is just a comparison. Total budget number versus fiscal activity. Minus one from the other, and that gets us the variance, favorable or unfavorable. At the beginning of the year, that's a lot of negatives inside of the revenue section, and that's a lot of zeros in the in the expense area. And then percent remaining, 100% is the total of the original budget. So for instance, ambulance revenue, we projected last year $120,000 to be made in ambulance revenue for the year of 2025. We have received 38,000 of that to date. That means we have 81,000 remaining of the 120,000 that we projected, giving us a percent remaining of 67%. So how do you, the numbers may not mean a whole lot of the total plus or minus, but the percent remaining helps us baseline where we should be, in a way. I'll talk about it, and Ms. Debbie probably has a couple of things to add to it as well. This percentage is linear. It starts at 0% or 100% for revenue. We have 100% remaining, and it goes to 0% by December 31st of the year. And it's a straight line. But that doesn't always tell us how the money comes into Pleasant Valley. So it could flatline for a while, and then we get a big payment. And then it plateaus and drops down to 0. Awesome. But that makes us look really bad for the first half of the year and really good for the latter half of the year. So how we get the money is one of the things that I'll be working with Matthew Chapman on to better visualize. Historically, what has our percent remaining been at every month throughout the year? So you can plot it on a 12-column chart to see, okay, does this look like this? Does it look straight line? Does it look high and then all the way low? To help us baseline where we are going, and whether the way we're receiving money reflects how we've historically received money. So those are the columns. It's kind of, they're fairly confusing, but once you kind of look at what, the way that I do it is look at the first column, original total budget. That's the one that I live by. And then I look at period activity. How much did we do in a particular period? And then our percent remaining. One of the things that you can do is, from a percent remaining perspective, is how much of the year are we today? And April 30th, 2025 is 67% of the way. We have 67% remaining. So we are 33% of the way through the year. We've accomplished 33% of the dates. So on the revenue, a good amount is between 0% remaining and 67%. If you see a number that is 67% or greater, it means that we are above glide slope on that particular thing. It means we're not bringing the money in that we thought we were at this point in time in the year. So some examples: gasoline business license. Projected 14,000, received 0. We have 100% remaining. So that's between 67 and 100%. It's a question. Hey, Matthew, when do we traditionally receive gasoline business license revenue?
It's funny you brought that one up, all of those, because I noticed that just looking at it now, that is gonna be a mistake, because we've already gotten at least 2 gasoline business licenses. So
okay,
that needs to be recoded.
Another one that is, so this is one that's good. Look at real estate tax. We anticipated receiving $270,000. Fiscal activity, which means to date, we've received $290,000, which is already above where we anticipated to be at the end of the year. That's a really good thing. We've expended all of the funds that, like, we've received more than what we thought we were going to, and at this time of year. That's a really good number. So you can look at each one of these line items one by one in order to kind of see the breakdown of where we're at. But looking at the total, Department 100, administration total, that is a summary view of all of the revenue anticipated from the funds listed in administration. We expected to receive $2.6 million. So far this year, we have received $1.2 million. That means we still have $1.3 million to go, but we are 52% of the way through the budgetary amount to receive, which is below the 67%. We were beating our estimate by a solid 15%, which is a really good number. Our revenue at this point in the year is better than we expected. If we were following a linear line. A linear line. And then the flip side is true on the expense side. So once you get through the revenue, which is pretty much the entire first page, you can flip over to expenses. And this is how much are we paying for a particular line item? How much are we paying for administration, payroll expense? So we budgeted $1,500. We thought $1,500 was how much we're going to spend. We spent $1,585. So when you see a negative number in percent remaining, that means we're over budget. That means we've expended more on that particular line item than we anticipated. And it's worth the question. Hey, Matthew, do you know why payroll expense is higher than we thought it would be?
I do not. But my guess is there may not be any more dollars flowing through there. Because there's not, I'm not immediately sure what is rolling through that payroll expense line.
Yeah, because there's nothing in the activity.
Yeah, there was no activity. That money was already there previous to April. So there may not be, we may be $85 over a year ahead.
Okay, awesome. And see, this is how, as a finance committee, this is how you can contribute to better understanding how the city is financially how it works, where the money goes, how do we budget things. So little tidbits like that are the things I'll sprinkle through as we hit the financial stuff. But okay, let's flip over a couple of pages. Sorry, I kind of scatterbrained, but you know, we learn to live with it, I guess. Okay, so there's different funds. It's important to recognize that there's general fund, and then there's other funds like sewer fund and road and street and capital expenses or capital improvements and parks. Parks is under general fund, my bad. So go to page 6. Page 6, half of the way down, and we're at the end of Fund 100. So Fund 100 is general fund. You see expenses total. So our original total budget amount was $2.897 billion, and our total revenues were projected to be $2.89 million. And so we were out the gate expecting a surplus of $2,431. Look at fiscal activity. So far this year, our expenses are $953,000, and our revenues that we've realized is $1.3 million. So right now, we are operating at a surplus of $395,000. So that's another important section to look at when you receive this budget report. And then there's other funds as well. Fund 200, Fund 300, Fund 600, all of those speak to the different funds. And some of them are going to be restricted. Some of them have very specific requirements on what can go into it, what can come out of it. So that's all I have. Thank you for letting me take a little bit of time to go over this, but hopefully it can help prompt really good financial discussions in the future.
It was very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question, and this might be better brought up at the financial thing, but it's fast. Is there a way, I assume this is just done with like Excel?
This is actually a canned report. This came right out of our Encode software.
Okay, so it's, okay. Because I was wondering if there's a way, like I know just familiar with Excel and things like that, that you can have it auto highlight certain lines. So that way if it's at 100%, it'll auto highlight it green or something. If it's at, a negative percentage, it'll auto highlight it red. Or I don't know, I'm not like an Excel person.
Yes.
I'd assume you could have it set so that if it's a certain date and it's over a certain percentage, it could highlight it yellow or something like that. So I was just wondering if if this comes from specific software, maybe we can't do that, but, that could be a way just to make it easy to review the reports in a timely way where it kind of gives you some key metrics of like, oh, this is at 100% already, or this is at, you know.
But those are exactly the kind of things I need to hear, because yes, I might not be able to do it through our Encode software, but I could absolutely do it through Excel.
Okay, because that could be helpful. I mean, I assume these are probably printed in black and white, but even if it's, I don't know, bold or something, like you can do anything with Excel just for certain things that are worth noting. We could have like little markers or something next to them, and it will auto-populate, so you don't have to do the work of sitting through every single line and going, okay, this one's at whatever percentage.
Encode used to be able to do that in the court side.
Okay.
In the court side, we used to be able to export it to Excel
Oh, okay.
out of our report. I don't know that your side will, because we were on that.
My experience, you can absolutely export from Encode to Excel. They don't play very nice together. So
But like it comes through all like messed up.
There's a lot of
Encode
work to
doesn't play
get
nice
that.
with anyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe they've improved.
Yes.
Hey, Matthew, I'll work with you on that, but when we meet on Thursday.
Okay.
Oh, did you want to talk about a time for that finance meeting?
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Me with a good memory, shocker.
So I would like the report to be after my meeting with Matthew, so after Wednesday, but before the personnel committee meeting, which will be not this upcoming Thursday, but the Thursday after that. So sometime between the Thursdays, between this Thursday and next Thursday.
Which, now that I have my calendar open, we might need to talk about our first meeting, because I actually do have a wedding photo shoot that Thursday, which is really uncommon. So I will reach out to people individually and see if maybe we do it a little bit earlier or something in the day, just because my meeting's at 2, so it just would conflict with, or my photo shoot's at 2.
Can't do earlier.
Or we could do later too. I'll reach out to you guys individually and we can get that scheduled.
One of the things I wanted, so we talk about sunshine law things. One of the things about having a smaller committee is about reaching out directly to other committee members. And the personnel committee is a really finicky one, where it's very difficult to have two members or members talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to go through Matthew on committee relevant communications. So
Can I reach out to people individually to say what, when is your schedule available? And then we can reach out to Matthew when we decide to book it.
all I'm saying is we should be careful. So especially because it's directly pertinent to public business, like where we're talking about an open session. I'm going to reach out to Debbie to schedule the next meeting, and that scheduling of meeting is something in the public interest and should be a part of the core. So I would recommend reaching out to Matthew, say, hey, here's my time, here's my availability. Can you help coordinate what the best time that meets all of the committee members, and have him handle the communications.
Good.
So when do you want to look at doing the finance committee meeting?
So I'll throw an option out there. Can we do? Of course, I don't want to see it. Can we do next Tuesday the 27th?
What time of day?
Have to be, 3 or later for me.
Okay, how about 3 o'clock?
I could do 3 o'clock.
Is that for the personnel?
No, that's for
This
the
is
finance.
Okay.
Tuesday the 27th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I can do that.
I can't. I'll be working.
What time? What's your schedule?
I get off at 4:30 every day, Monday to Thursday.
Okay.
8:30, 4:30, Monday to Thursday.
Would you be?
Well,
would you also be unavailable that day, Tuesday?
Well, how about,
That's for all of finance, so it's for the entire board.
how about Friday? Friday, the 23rd.
The 23rd?
What, 4:30 or what?
Well, Dean's off all day Friday.
Oh, he's off all day.
Yeah, I'm occupied on Friday, sorry.
Okay,
I had previous plans on Friday, the 23rd also.
okay, that's fine. Let's go back to Tuesday. Can we do 3 o'clock on Tuesday? And Dean, it might just be a matter of you might not be able to hit this one.
I might be able to sneak out. It's a small business, so.
Okay. I don't want you to get in trouble with your employer.
No, there's no trouble. It's, like I said, it's a small business, so I got, I can, I'll have to wait and see.
Okay. It'll be here, so it might be, that might make it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you're taking lunch.
I might be able to.
Okay.
To do that.
You said 3:30?
3
3, okay, 3.
on May 27th.
I can do that.
Did we get the personnel or word?
We can just discuss that now if you want, though we don't have to do emails. I can do Thursday after like 4:30.
I could.
Could you do that, Pat?
You said Tuesday?
Thursday,
Oh, Thursday at what time?
4:30.
Yes.
And usually I don't have anything booked on that day, on Thursdays, so it shouldn't be a problem in the future, but
This is next Thursday.
The 29th, is that?
it'd be the 29th, right? Okay.
4:30.
Okay, any new business?
I just wanted to let people know, I wanted to do this over the last 2 weeks, but I have not had time to look at the live stream data. So I can look at how many viewers we have, how many live viewers we have, how many times it gets used after the meeting, if it's getting shared, if users are happening right on the platform, or if they're happening on shared videos. So I was gonna just kind of get the metrics of that so we could just kind of have an overview of how the live stream is doing. And part of the reason that I would like to do that is because I have had, and I know a couple other people have had complaints about the quality of the live stream, not being able to hear it, not being able to see well, things like that, it not running well or not starting. So if we wanted to look at potentially cost of equipment upgrades, like having a better camera, a better microphone, it wouldn't be a very big expense, but still be an expense. So I'd like to come with if there is a good outreach, because we don't want to spend money if there's no one watching. But if we have a good amount of people watching, relevant to what we would usually see in person, then I think it's worth the discussion about if we can upgrade some hardware on that end. And then I'm also going to be looking at putting OBS on that computer, which is free. It's just a streaming platform rather than streaming directly through YouTube in the browser. So I'm not super familiar with how to use it, but I think Pat and I can tackle it and figure it out, and that may help the stream quality as well. So I'm just going to kind of come, hopefully, with a report in our next meeting of some of those metrics so we can have better informed decisions about what to do about the live stream.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, let's go on to ordinances and resolutions.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to read Council Bill 3591?
Please do.
An ordinance appointing and setting salary of the municipal judge of the 7th Judicial Circuit Court. Madam Mayor, would you like me to ask for a motion and a second to pass Council Bill 3591 on first and place it on the second?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Question,
Discussion?
yeah, question on that. So do we actually need to repeal 3514 that was prior to this one? Or
Yes.
just enact it?
I apologize, I did not write it up that way. So if we
I
can
know,
just-
so that would be, I think you can repeal it verbally, but yes, usually it would be, you could just approve this ordinance and it would state that, but since it's not in there, it does need to be verbally approved.
Is that just a
Question
motion?
on that. So the one that we're looking at right now has an end date. Says, said new one-year term to commence on 5/19/2025 and end on 4/14 or 7/14/2026. What does ordinance 3514 have for the end date? Does that matter?
July. Yes,
Like, do we need to repeal it if it automatically ended?
it did not end because, so what happened was I put in our budget the raise 2 years ago, but it was not reflected in the ordinance that the city at the time passed. So they've not been getting paid that raise the entire year. So this is me essentially giving them 1 month of a head start to the new ordinance that would have already gone into effect this coming July.
Gotcha.
So it gives
Okay.
them their raise a month early to try to make up for not paying them
Yeah.
for the last 2 years, the entire wage that they were due.
So it definitely does need a repeal. Is that can we just say, I move that we repeal ordinance 3514? Or does that require something a little bit more?
Can we add a line to this and then do it as amended,
I like that better.
so that it's still in the ordinance?
Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Aldermen, City of Pleasant Valley, Missouri, as follows. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, how about we just add a Section 4? That says ordinance 3514 is repealed. Does that pass muster?
You're repealing it in its entirety.
Yeah, which should be fine, because this ordinance completely
Right.
takes it over.
I think we're okay. I will reach out after the fact, and if I need to bring it back, I will.
Okay, awesome. We'll get some legal
Yes.
advice on it.
Yep.
And then if it doesn't, then we will call a special meeting in order to do it. Okay. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have to do the same thing with the second one when it comes up as well? Okay.
I'll amend that motion to include that repeal of
Second.
3514.
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Okay, you need to read the,
Yeah, I'll read it as is, and we're gonna,
Do the same thing.
I'll read it as is, but we'll make the same changes. Madam Mayor, would you like me to read Council Bill 3592?
yes,
An ordinance appointing it and setting salary for the city prosecutor. Madam Mayor, would you like me to ask for a motion and a second to pass Council Bill 3592 on the first and place it on the second?
yes.
We need to do the first one again,
Yeah.
the second reading of the first one.
Yeah.
Skipped right over that. Madam Mayor, would you like me to ask for a motion and a second to pass Council Bill 3591 on the first and place it on the second?
Yes.
We already did.
We need to do a second
It's
reading.
an ordinance that has to be done twice. It was the second reading of ordinance 3590.
Okay.
Yep.
So moved as amended.
Well, it needs to be read again, right? Like the title needs to be read. Matthew, you didn't read the title a second time.
An ordinance appointing and setting salary of the municipal judge of the 7th Judicial Circuit Court.
So moved as amended.
Second.
Okay. Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
And then the next.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to read Council Bill 3592?
Yes, please.
An ordinance appointing and setting salary for the city prosecutor. Madam Mayor, would you like me to ask for a motion and a second to pass Council Bill 3592 on the first and place it on the second?
Yes.
As amended.
It would be a first amendment on this one. So moved.
Second.
Okay, now I move that we amend Council Bill number 3592 by adding section 4 that states ordinance 3515 is repealed.
Do I have to second that? Second?
Yeah, I think it needs a second.
Clerk. Everybody clear? Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
All right, we have to
You have to say it again?
An ordinance appointing and setting salary for the city prosecutor.
You want to do it again?
So moved.
Second.
So moved as amended, correct?
Sure, so moved as amended.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to read Resolution 2025-0519-01?
Please do so.
A resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the City of Pleasant Valley, Missouri, adopting a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan for Cass, Clay, Jackson, Platte, and Ray counties in Missouri.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to ask for a motion and a second to pass Council Resolution 2025-0519-01?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
I've been waiting for
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
And is there a
Motion
motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Thank you all for your brains tonight. Appreciate you.
Mayor, I'm sorry, I know this was old business when I came in the store, but I was,
We gotta be careful about.
Yeah, so if you want to give me.
I'll go talk to
Yeah, talk to her
Yeah,
specifically.
we can't have
Okay,
a-
my fault.
Now, we'll bring it.
This looks very nice, thank you.
And they print it super blue, but that's okay.
Okay.
It's just because it's not professional printing, but no one cares except me. I'm the only person who's gonna notice.
But I still.
Yeah, it is.
I think-